Welcome to some more Splatoon 2 details. So Nagame, the producer behind Splatoon 2, did an interview with 4Gamer recently, and this is pretty much a roundup of all of the information that Nagame gave during that interview. So let's start off with the weapon types and the stages. So Nagami still can't say much, but Nintendo wants to bring about the same type of enjoyment as the first title by introducing weapon updates in a similar kind of way. So we'll get like a weapon update pretty much like every week or like every couple of weeks. That was how the first game worked out. So we will be getting weapon updates on a regular basis, which is pretty cool. So also for players who already decided on using a particular weapon type, Nintendo will prepare more variations so that they become interested in wanting to use other types. So that is pretty interesting in terms of the weapons. Maybe they will do something similar with the rollers and the chargers, and maybe they will do the same for the like splat shot, like the splat shot type of weapons, and like the blasters and stuff like that. So 4 stages were shown in the trailer, 3 of them are new, while the other one has been refreshed from the original game with new elements. Nagami says other stages will be returning as well, but with new elements added to them to make them feel fresh, pardon the pun. So I did actually make a video which I will upload soon, talking about my online multiplayer mode ideas. Like I gave you some of my ideas for new modes, and one of them was a mode where you were playing on Splatoon Wii U maps, but yeah, it seems like they will be returning into Splatoon 2, like some of them at least, but they will be changed to make them feel a little bit different. So it will be interesting to see what they will do to the stages to make them feel fresh. Maybe they'll do like a Urchin Underpass sort of job. So basically, Urchin Underpass was completely different when Splatoon Wii U launched, and then they changed the map. I think it was around about 6 to 8 months later, or maybe even a year later. So maybe they will change the layout of some of these maps to make them feel fresh, or maybe they will add in some stuff like ink rails into certain maps just to add something extra into the maps to make them feel different. So on Splatoon 2 setting, just like in the real world, 2 years have passed in Splatoon's world. Music in the last game sounded like pure rock. Since 2 years have passed, tastes have changed, and young residents of the Squid world now tend to listen to music that's a bit more advanced with a twisted feel, which is featured in the game. So the music will sound different from Splatoon Wii U to Splatoon 2, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing what they will do with the soundtrack, just because I really did enjoy the music in Splatoon Wii U. So we've got some information about the gear. So some gear will be carried over from the original game, but the developers will add in a lot of new content. There are completely new designs, and just like trainers or sneakers in our world, even if the shape is the same, colouring trends tend to change, and that thing is reflected in Splatoon 2. So Nagami talked about the new map display system, and basically they came up with the current system after plenty of trial and error. And so basically in Splatoon 2, players can still control their character while displaying the map, which is an idea that I did have in my how Splatoon 2 will control without a second screen. I did actually talk about maybe you could actually control your character if you did press a button to bring a map on screen, and yeah, they are implementing that idea into the final game, so that is pretty cool how you can still control your character whilst you got the map up. So like you can see somebody coming up like to you, you could have the map still open and you could like still shoot them whilst you still got the map up, but obviously you will take the map down, but you can still shoot. There's not a delay there, so you won't have a disadvantage by having a map up. You can still shoot. So That is pretty cool. So the map was fixed in a bird's eye view on Wii U, but if you move with gyro controls, the map also moves. Nintendo wants the map to be viewed in a 3D sense. That way you can easily recognise where enemies are or where areas have been painted, and maybe how much your team and the opposition have painted in terms of percentage. So we've got some details about the single player campaign. It sounds like the single player campaign will be similar to the one that we did see in Splatoon Wii U. So Splatoon 2 will of course have a single player campaign, and the Squid Research Lab is still researching it, but it is planned to have the same volume of content as the first title. Also, like the last game, Nintendo wants the campaign to serve as a way of players to become familiar with the controls if they're hesitant to jump right into the online multiplayer. They also want to show the depth of the Squid world, similar to what they did with the Sunken Scrolls. So Amiibo will be supported in Splatoon 2. Nagami wants to make sure that all of the Amiibo that we have bought, like the Splatoon ones to be specific, he wants them to be used in Splatoon 2. So he is asking fans to keep hold of those Splatoon specific Amiibo figures. So the Squid Research Lab is researching Splatfest, but would like to host regular events which players can look forward to. Got my own ideas for what they could do with Splatfest in Splatoon 2, and that will be uploaded soon. So there is no Miiverse on the Switch, and that is a disappointing thing, just because Miiverse posts worked really well, especially during Splatfest. So pretty much there is no Miiverse, but Nagame wants to create a similar feature which will generate the same kind of excitement which is created by the interaction between developers and players that Miiverse provided. So maybe you will have like an in-game messaging system, and you can still post it through the letterbox and it will still appear in game. So maybe you'll still have some sort of Miiverse features in Splatoon 2, but obviously it will not be system based, it will just be game based. So we've got some details about the lag from Splatoon Wii U. So dealing with lag is difficult, but Nintendo is considering various ways of dealing with it for Splatoon 2. The transmission data size has been decreased thanks to some optimization, meaning connection errors will happen less than in the first Splatoon. That is really pleasing, just because I thought that was my connection. I'm going to be completely honest, I got disconnected quite often, and I hated how you would lose points, like you would lose like some ranked points if you lost connection and it wasn't your fault. So Nintendo will try to match players who are closer together or on a similar communication quality as much as possible. So does this mean the end of coming up against those pesky Japanese players, which flipping heck, they're flipping gods, seriously. Coming up against Japanese players, my word, you get your backside owned, seriously. Well, I do anyway, maybe that just describes my skill level in Splatoon Wii U, but it sounds like that we will be coming up against Japanese players less in Splatoon 2. So pretty much 4 gamer active players will be matched together based on similar bandwidth usability, but Nagame responded that a person's internet connection quality can't just be judged by throughput, since various elements need to be considered. So Nintendo isn't just measuring with one regulation. But Nagame also said that Nintendo is trying to improve various layers of communication quality issues for Splatoon 2. So maybe the stuff like where you shoot somebody and then you think, right, you got away from that gunfight, but then you're dead, you get splattered, and like after when you kill that person, and that is down to lag. So hopefully that sort of stuff will get improved in Splatoon 2, and that's going to be some of the stuff that I will mention in some of the general stuff that I want to see improved in Splatoon 2, and that will be a video coming out soon. So pretty much they will be adding new weapons and stages like what they did in Splatoon Wii U. They're not just going to add new weapons and stages all at once, because some players will be left behind, so content will be added by carefully watching how players interact with the game. I think it's better to space out, like to roll out your content gradually. Like it's better to roll it out on a gradual basis, just because if you roll it out all at once, then you will just get pretty bored of the content pretty quickly, and you just staggering the content out, like not all at once, just staggering it out, pretty much means that it'll help to add a bit of longevity to Splatoon 2. So I was a fan of how they handled the content in Splatoon Wii U, and it sounds like they will be doing the same in Splatoon 2, and that is a massive plus for me. So that is all of the details that Nagami gave in this interview. Obviously, we are a few months out from the release of the game, so we are going to be getting some more details on the game. So of course I will be bringing that to you on my channel, as well as my own ideas for what I want to see in Splatoon 2. But that is it for this video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.